Hello everyone and welcome back to Delulu Land, where Delulu is the Salulu. Today I'm going to be talking about the cinematography in Get Out. If you don't know Get Out, it is a film by Jordan Peele, who you may know from Key and Peele, and it is about a black guy named Chris who's dating a white girl, who's Rose, and they go to Rose's parents' house for the first time to meet them. Now, Chris finds everything to be very strange in this house. All of their friends are white except for a couple people in the mix, two people who work for the house, which is almost like a symbolism for slavery, and one other person named Logan King, who is married to a old white woman. All the black people, except for Chris of course, are very whitewashed and seem very abnormal. Throughout the film, Chris just finds everything to be very strange. Missy, who is Rose's mother, hypnotizes Chris and brings him to the sunken place, which is continuously mentioned throughout the movie. After an attack that Logan made on Chris and Rose go to the lake near Rose's house, while Dean, Rose's father, auctions off Chris to a blind man. Chris later gets very bad vibes. His instincts act up to the point where he wants to leave. When he tries to leave, the family reveals himself to him, hypnotizes him, and then takes him hostage to where they're going to do brain surgery on him and switch his brain out with the blind man's brain so that the blind man can take over his body. Except he narrowly escapes killing them all and being rescued by his TSA friend, Rod. As one can tell, there are many hints of slavery and oppression in this movie. The opening credits opens up with the woods. It's like someone is driving through the woods, foreshadowing a little bit to Chris and Rose driving to Rose's parents' house. The song, Sikli Zakwawan Hinga, I'm praying I pronounced that right, by Michael Abels, plays in the background for that first part, and that shows the theme of oppression and slavery. The next half of the opening credits shows the city set in the 90s, and the song Redbone by Childish Gambino plays. That sets the tone for Chris's character. This also continues opening up to Chris in his apartment, packing up, getting ready to go to Rose's parents' house. Symbolism and foreshadowing. The first symbol is when Rose and Chris are on the way to Rose's parents' house, or the Armitage's house. A deer jumps in front of their car, and Rose is the one driving, and she accidentally kills the deer. Chris goes to check on the deer, and the deer makes eye contact with Chris, and there's a shot of Chris's eyes, and he is filled of worry and fear. And I want to emphasize how Rose was driving when they hit the deer, and how she killed the deer. This deer ends up really symbolizing Chris and showing how he is prey, and it kind of shows his fate, how Rose wants to end up killing Chris. Next, the symbol of slavery. When they get to Rose's parents' house, or the Armitage's house, the first thing Chris notices is a black guy working in the front yard. She says that that's the land worker.
It's the groundskeeper.
And when they go in and meet the parents, the guy is watching them and watching Chris as they go in the house. Later, when they're getting a tour of the house, or when Chris is getting a tour of the house, he meets the housemaid, who is also a black woman. And it's the same shot of when it was with the deer. She looks directly at him and he looks directly at her, and there's a shot of his eyes. Again, a very similar shot to when he saw the dead deer. Both of the black characters are huge hints to slavery, like they're slave workers for the house. Later on, Rose, Chris, and her parents all sit down for a glass of iced tea. There are two hints in this scene, one of them being when Missy stirs her glass with her spoon and taps on the glass. The camera has a close-up on the spoon in the glass mixing the tea, and then it shows Chris's hands trembling like he's nervous or uncomfortable. And then later, it shows the maid pouring his tea, and it shows her getting distracted and like she's trying to say something, and it closes up on her face and shows the fear in her face and her discomfort. This happens many times throughout the film too. You see her trying to say something a lot but not being able to, almost like she feels oppressed too. We get another scene of Chris sleeping for the first night, and he has a nightmare about the dead deer. He then wakes up to seeing a stuffed tiger, which is Rose's stuffed toy animal, looking at him and staring at him. The lion looks at Chris and he looks at it and he turns it around, and the lion is like a symbol for Rose, her manipulation, and how she's manipulating Chris. And it's a really cool correlation because Chris had just woken up from that dream about the dead deer, and then he saw that stuffed lion, and it was kind of like, she's gonna kill you. All right, that's enough. Then Chris gets up to walk around and try to get some fresh air. And once again, he notices weird things about both of the workers at the house. And then Missy tries to stop him. She sits him down and once again has a cup of tea. She stirs it and then she taps it. And she reminds him of his childhood and when his mother died. Now, this scene is very interesting because it shows Chris when he was a kid. And it shows him in his room watching TV. And it's like a dark, very dark scenery. And he explains what happened when his mother died and how he reacted. And then once Missy gets this out of him, she then taps her glass and hypnotizes him and brings him to the sunken place, to where he falls in, again, like a dark void, and he's looking through his eyes, but it's like a TV screen. He's like watching TV, like what his childhood memory was like, but now it's a sunken place. Let's go back to talking about the maid. Later on in the film, when the Armitage's friends come over to meet Chris for the first time, he goes upstairs to check on his phone because he gets overwhelmed and uncomfortable, to be quite frank, and his phone is unplugged. He tells Rose that he thinks that the maid purposely unplugged it, and then the maid goes to apologize to him, and again, she's very odd. She seems very whitewashed, and when he tries to connect with her on a certain level, she can't connect with him, and she just acts like she has the mind of a white woman.
I wasn't trying to snitch.
Snitch.
Rat you out.
Tattletale.
And then she almost, when she's like saying goodbye to him and trying to leave, there's a close-up of her face, and it looks like she's trying to say something to Chris once again, and she even cries trying to say something to him. But then again, it's like she's oppressed and she's like shut out and not allowed to say anything to him, and then she walks away. Shortly after this, Chris goes to again talk to the Armitage's friends, and one of them being Logan King, who is one of the only black friend of theirs, again whitewashed, doesn't seem like has like the mind of a white guy. While he's talking about his experience of racism and oppression that he can't relate to, Chris takes a picture of him and the flash goes in his face. And he attacks Chris. It seems like he attacks Chris. He has to be brought away to where, you don't find this out until the end of the movie, but to where Missy hypnotizes him again and brings him back to his hypnosis state. Now, when Logan is brought out of his hypnosis state, there's a close-up of his eyes, and then it shows Chris's eyes. And again, there's that correlation. And this always happens either with, again, the deer, who symbolizes him, or with, like, one of the black people. This close-up shot, it's the same, or at least a very similar close-up shot that happens each time he has an interaction between one of these people. After the whole debacle with Logan lunging at Chris and Rose go off to the lake and they talk about what happened, and Rose tries to calm Chris down. And at the same time during this scene, there's a cut scene to an auction when Dean Armitage auctions off Chris to the blind man that wants to take him over. Then Chris and Rose go back to Rose's parents' house, and Chris just doesn't feel right. He feels very off and he doesn't feel comfortable anymore, so he wants to leave. This leads the family to basically taking him hostage and revealing themselves to him. As he runs downstairs and tries to get Rose to take them both home, Dean Armitage stands in front of the fireplace and asks Chris what his purpose in life is.
What is your purpose, Chris?
What?
In life, what is your purpose?
And while he's asking this, there's a lion statue by the fireplace that he's standing above, kind of symbolizing that the whole family is the lion. They're all predators and they're all preying on Chris and they're all about to kill Chris. Then when he tries to fight back, Missy takes her spoon and there's a shot of her tapping her spoon on her teacup and hypnotizing Chris. Chris goes to the sunken place and sees everything through the TV screen, and everyone crowds around him and goes to take him hostage and put him in their basement room. The shot of the sunken place shows Chris sinking into this dark void and seeing everything through a small TV screen, symbolizing oppression. The whole family oppresses him and shuts him out and shuts him down and quiets him, and takes him over, pretty much as, again, their slave. Later, when Chris wakes up, he wakes up in a basement that's kind of similar to the sunken place. Even though it's very bright and very lit up, it still has the same kind of imagery as the sunken place. He's taken hostage. He looks and sees this TV screen. That's how he communicates with everyone. He's binded to this chair. He can't get out. And there's even a shot of him watching the TV, and there's like a very slim light on him, kind of like in the sunken place. There's only very dim light on him as he sinks into the void. The first thing that the viewer notices is that there's a deer head mounted on the wall right in front of Chris, right above the television that is in front of Chris. The deer head mounted on the wall kind of shows that he's been captured. The prey has been captured by the predator and they're about to kill him. It's also funny because it's the head of a deer, and they're gonna end up opening his head up and like switching out his brain, so it's kind of like also like connects the dots there too. Finally, he escapes and kills everyone. The first person he officially kills is Dean, and he kills him by taking the deer head off the wall and stabbing the antlers in the dad's stomach, which I think kind of shows that like even though he was captured prey, he bounced back and rebelled and like defended himself against them. I think one other thing to note throughout this whole film is that towards the beginning of the film, before the Armitages revealed themselves to him, they were always portrayed in a very bright fashion. The light was always shining on them, and they were always shown as kind of like good, meaningful people. But then once they revealed themselves to him as the people who they were just always portrayed in this darker kind of tone, and shadows, and everything around them was always dark. And then at the very end, when Rose was looking for her next victim, she was in a very dark space in her room, and the only thing that was lit up was her computer screen. It also kind of looked like the sunken place in a way, in a sense, because like it's a dark room that she's sitting in and she's looking through this very bright TV screen, you know? Even though she's not the one being oppressed, she's the one oppressing. I think that also kind of ties together because even though she was the predator to Chris, he ended up killing her too, or at least ended up like defeating her, and she was the last to be seen in the setting of a sunken place. So kind of like, even though throughout the whole movie she was manipulating and suppressing Chris, finally at the very end, he kind of like got her back for all that, which I found was very interesting. Overall, this movie is quite the thriller. I wouldn't exactly call it horror. I think I'll just call it thriller. But it is also, I think, honestly, a pretty educating movie. Very creative, very imaginative, and I definitely recommend seeing it if you haven't seen it already. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day and you find your Salulu to your own Delulu. Bye!